How's it going, everybody? Kyther here, and welcome back to Satisfactory. We're supposed to start off like that, but not today. Last time, at the end of last episode, we relocated our space station or space elevator to here in the middle of the base. We also tidied up, added the finishing sort of touches to everything for the time being, so buildings actually look like buildings. And it's kind of the most part of what we did. Probably a few other things that I'm forgetting. But today, whether or not I show a lot of it on camera, we're going to be going and renovating this building finally. So whether it stays this big or we separate it up a little bit, I don't know. But essentially, we need to get these back online, and kind of the end goal is that we want supercomputers online as well. So we can technically do supercomputers, kind of two words there, not just a zibba. We can get these online because now we have the high-speed connectors. Might also get around to just sort of setting up, so just have slow, I was going to say income, but slow production of that happening. And because I've done all this before, I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to show on camera exactly. Let's grab those. But yeah, for the most part, we want the heavy modular frames. Yeah, I'm losing my things. And we need to get these, which we don't need to go any further with. We just need to sort of increase the production of the pipes. These, at the moment, I don't need them to be made. We'll just set them up so we can hook it on at some point, because this thing is still pretty much filled to the brim. So I want to sort of get rid of all the excess stuff that we have. And then, in order to make these, we need these. And for these, we need both the iron plates and the screws. Now, we do have an iron plate production, air quotes, line down here. This is just more for just, I don't know, temporary sake, so I can just grab them when I need them for building and stuff. So we want to make an actual dedicated area for that. And all of this is probably going to go. I will need to keep maybe just one of these machines making the rods. Because as of what I'm looking at now, they don't really have a need for the rods. We used to use them for the screws, but now they are no longer needed. And yeah, basically just ignoring these for the most part. I just need them for the actual machines, splitters, and the belts when they have these on them, the conveyor poles. But anyway, I'm gonna start off by demolishing, ripping out a lot of this. Probably just moving these storage containers up here for the time being, just so we have them sort of out of the road. But of course, I don't actually have any of these on me, as usual. So the tower that has stood the test of time is now barren and empty, and the nice clean base now has random boxes throughout it, on top of a building. The only thing I haven't done is remove the bottom of this. This is going to have to go through a redesign anyway, and I still have the hub up the top, and I'm thinking that we could probably, because I think it fits, might move the hub to be next to the station, best of the station. Only thing will be that there'll be just that sitting next to it. My box I normally stand on is no longer here. But this thing won't be completely symmetrical. It's not really symmetrical because of how this thing is designed, but probably the best spot for it. That was general game lag, not just, I suppose, your internet. So yeah, because I'm gonna have to move the hub and all its contents again. I think for now we'll put it over there, if it lets me, and I'll just see how it looks. anyway, from this perspective, it kind of looks a little weird, not gonna lie. But at the same time, later on, this tower is going to be taller, so that may ruin it, may not, I don't know. But anyway, we've removed everything. The kind of the last thing to go that may get replaced is actually the walkway. It'll be sad to see this go, but I don't really, I mean, I kind of use it, but not really. You know. So yeah. Shared days. The giant long walkway of nothingness. Must go. So it turns out I'm going to be showing this more of this. Nope. Turns out I'm going to be showing you guys how this is going to be made, because this is kind of crazy. So we've only got the Mark II smelters down there at the moment. Still pressing wrong buttons. Once we get the Mark IIIs, we're going to be getting 240 per normal nodes, because all these three were normal nodes. Which means if they're fully upgraded, that'll be a total of 600 iron ore a minute. And these, we still, well, when we were having this building in production, when it was in production, better words, this one still only has just its default 240. So, been sort of doing numbers and working out space and whatnot. I was initially thinking we'd have to chop off like the two tiles there, because of the wonkiness that is the rock down the bottom here. Turns out we don't have to do that, which is beautiful. So we get to keep some odd building in this, I suppose, the city. This is the design we're going with, and I was initially just going to copy paste this and flip it, so these machines would be on this tile here, but facing the opposite way there. It's not actually going to be the case. Well, in a way it is, because on this floor, we can, ignoring that there's two missing there, we could have fit 30, at a maximum, 36 smelters, and doing this sort of repeating pattern of a joint line here, and then these three here. We could put smelters, the join line, I think more smelters, yeah, join line, more smelters, blah blah, and then you'd have an extra line just at the end. However, we don't need to do that, because we only need to put 20 smelters on the floor, because at the moment, the Mark III, that is the maximum capacity of smelters that we need, because of the 600 going down to 30. Ahaha. So we only need to do this sort of lineup 3 times, which will give us the 18 smelters, and then we just have 2 extras, which will sit in that little odd divot over there. This works out perfectly. And we also have really a whole bunch of floors here. So what I'm going to do, I like that I can stand here, is I'm going to rip out the bottom floor and maybe move this floor up a bit, or we'll do that later. But essentially, I want to plan this building and have it so, I don't think I can stand there, so I get that in the future we may have all 3 of these being Mark III miners being completely overclocked. So that would be very cool. I might as well, I'm gonna, yeah, just do that. For the most part, this is how the design's going to be, except this. Actually, no, we are going to keep this splitter here. Well, maybe not in that direct spot. We should, actually, no, we will see. And I'll have one that'll just sort of go up and around over to like the 3rd line. The only thing we have to do is before bringing, depends on space. I'm using this top floor as a testing grounds. Is we have to siphon off 60 in the very first split that we do, and that just goes over to the final 2 over there. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm gonna get it done. And so there we have it. I've got the first floor all done. So what I ended up doing was there's enough room in here to actually fit a conveyor belt line down the side. We're just siphoning off the 60 at the very beginning, going into a splitter, and this one goes around to the third side, or set of smelters, and then the top one just comes down here and splits off into these two, which it all works out really nicely. Let's just give it power. Everything turn on. They're all set up, and well, I didn't really want to do that, but I'm gonna guess at the same time this may or may not break our power situation. Let's just have a look. Well, no, never mind. It won't, because this isn't maxed out or anything. I didn't want to go and grab the belts. But I completely forgot that we do have this belt, which would just isn't, or actually not even just enough, is easily enough. Just the thing I want to pay attention to is if whether or not that stays at sort of constant flow. Looks like it might be, maybe with the exception of that first bit there. For the most part, I think this is actually going to be a full 60 out this side, which is good eventually. I think we'll be fine with power. There's no way that this will all turn on and then be done, but it's all going to back up very, very quickly. For the most part, I think we're going to have these come out here and then go up. Just to where they need to go. Also, I will probably finish off the other two floors sort of in my own time. And I might raise this floor up so we don't have this issue. It'll only go up one floor. So you just get the top of it while it's running. But at the same time, I'm not going to be in here, so I don't know whether I will really need to do that or not. You just put orange jetpack again. Yeah, I don't plan on going in there, so mightn't necessarily have to do that. So we're just going to have the iron be smelting. Is it backed up yet? Oh, it's slowly backing up. Cool. Well, these ones over here should pretty much be just running flat even. By the looks of it, it might be. Well, it should be. I would see why else it would not do that. So this one's fine. Don't know what's happened with this one and why you got up to 4. That confuses me, but it's fine. Anyway, that's layer 1. I will just sort of map it out, and we'll put some iron creations on top of it, I think. And here is the finished building. Keyword there being building, because this floor and this floor, one doesn't have a roof on it yet, but they're also just empty. Whoosh. There we go. Unfortunately, we also have lost our tower of conveyor-ness that was over on the far side here. It is now gone. I've taken out just a little bit of strip of flooring that was here. But that's it. We're done. Now, normally, buildings don't allow other things to go on top. This one be an exception, because this is now done. There's no further way to expand it, or upwards anyway. I wish I could walk there, but I cannot. Because each of these has their own floor, and when they are fully powered and whatnot, unless a new miner comes out, and then at that point I'm just screwed. Because we would expand that way at that point. Which we can go about like 4 or 1, 2, 6 tiles. But anyway, that's it. I'm gonna see whether or not I'm gonna put stuff on top of this directly, like right now, or if we're gonna maybe expand back in this direction for some of the iron stuff, or out this way. I'm not sure. So, since the last clip, I have been a little bit busy. I also repainted our hub to blue. I want to do that to this thing as well. It's very quiet since there's no background music at the moment. It's driving me mad. Or I just can't hear it because I fiddled with my audio. Anyway, But bam. On top of the iron production super building, we have plates, screws. Technically there's a plate in there too, but I'll get into that in a second. And then reinforced plates. So this is the end production of the iron plates. They will end up being going into here. Just because their initial plan is to be used for the modular frames when we get them back up and running. And we only need 8 of these for the heavy modular frames. A little bit less, technically, a minute. So this is going to be producing more than we need. This side is the screws, those two, and then this one is a plate, iron plate, because of the recipe I'm using, which is obviously the screws one, or the alternate recipe one. We need 25 plates, fortunately, and that just means, 25 plates. It's sort of 16, confused myself. But unfortunately, they only make them in 15, and I don't want to overclock these, because that's kind of just pointless. But this design here may change in the future, maybe. But at the same time, we can't at the wall. We can't go too high because Mr. Moth Flyman, who's over that way. He's gone that way somewhere. There he is. He goes straight through what this building would be and clipping a little bit of this. Speaking of, he actually clips the space elevator just a wee little bit. But it's fine. I have a cool idea if we have to go high up, because I think this building is definitely going to be in the road. Not sure about that one. Watching him fly past, he might clip just sort of the, maybe like that corner of it. Not entirely sure. I was initially just going to paint this entire thing blue. Or their colours, I suppose. May do that later on to see, or another day to see what it's like. But anyway, let's fall down here and just hook this up. I don't have, no, that's exactly what I wanted. I haven't bothered to go around and grab these, so this is a little overkill in terms of using this. So not really going to flow in here that quickly. But in saying that, should probably also upgrade all of those. There we go. So that'll make that go a little better. And I've just got some temporary platforms here to get up here a lot quicker, because kind of necessary. So we only need 60 going that way and just a bit more this way. 90 going into here. And that should pretty much hook all this up. This is kind of annoyingly fancy. Being over here, having them spread out like this. Because this is only 4 wide, I can only fit 3 in here. Or in a row, I could only fit 3. I'd say if I had utilized maybe putting the things on the outside, we maybe could fit 4 in here. Like I said, the design up here will probably change in the future. The initial idea that I wanted was to just have, plates one side, screws one side, bring them into the middle. So you could see the belts connecting the buildings up. But also turns out, until another item, I've done that twice today, until another sort of production line actually uses the modular frame, that ends up being a better, getting lag spikes, that ends up being like a better recipe. What else? I don't think anything else used it. No, it might be just heavy modular frame, which these are just an end item, so nothing uses these except for making buildings and vehicles, so there's no point really mass producing these out the wazoo. Getting 3 a minute will be enough, like we had before. So yeah, we have these 3 buildings on top of the building, and the iron plates, reinforced iron plates, are being produced once again. There's probably an odd cut, I kind of rambled afterwards, so apologies about that. Anyway, looking around, not knowing how close I am to the ground, I'm going to put the supercomputers over here near the weapons factory. Kind of probably either here or directly behind them. It just sort of works out in the case that the only thing I need to have the high-speed connectors can sort of run across here. The other two items, I might have to expand this out. The computers and the AI limiters can come down this way, and then rubber just go along here. Actually, no, I was going to put it there. That's right, because I was going to run the rubber along the edge of this building, because it would just work out that way. He flies, he goes away. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today. Well, from my knowledge, slightly shorter than normal. Although, me again going on against my word, not against my word, but just going against what I normally say, wasn't going to show much of that building. We pretty much just did that. That was the entire thing we did today. But again, needed to be done. It just took a lot longer to get. Took a lot longer to do than I expected. That's why this was kind of the main focus for today. But anyway, that's gonna do it. And then, just to show what we do need to do. Supercomputers. Going in the wrong directions. Every modular frames. We also need to get these back online too. These encased industrial beams. Because my storage of them is running a little bit low. Which is down yonder here. I believe it's that one. This one just has mainly plastic in it. Yep, plastic and circuit boards. There's more frames in here and a whole bunch of screws. And that little bit there. There might be some in the little chests over in behind this building. There might be a couple in there. Speaking of, we don't have to expand the iron for this anymore because it's got the space for all three of them. I didn't do that with the copper. I don't know why. I think it was more of a case that it was also a case that I just put the wire on top of it. So that probably shouldn't have done that. But anyway. That's going to do it for today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to stick around to see some more. I shall see you guys next time, where we will hopefully get both of, and technically the last what's the word? Auto production of the materials we had before, because these, as far as I'm aware, those two are the last ones that we had on the production line. That no longer are anymore. It's a terrible sentence. Last two, we need to be back where we were before we restarted the base for the second time, technically. That, hopefully, we'll finally go get some bauxite. Anyway, that is all, and I shall see you guys next time. But until then, bye!